Welcome, everybody. This is D Durrell with D Durrell Life Solutions. Thank each and every one of you for coming in today. We are going to focus again on the Black woman, Black mothers, and Black sons series. This is a six-piece series. This is actually number 5. I focused on Black mothers and sons. We talked about defining roles. What are the sons being taught? Mutual respect. The previous was up in relation to the power of modeling. And now we're going to focus on mothers cannot replace men. Let me repeat. Black mothers cannot replace Black fathers or Black men. I know that throughout social media, you have seen the theatrics of how multiple situations of how that ideal has been blurred, where you have women, particularly on Father's Day and other great um, milestones of their children, talk about how they're the mother and the father, not understanding the mixed messages that they give their sons when they minimize masculinity, when they minimize the importance of a male or father figure. Because they're indirectly devaluing their sons in the process. When you speak of men ain't worth this and men ain't worth that, this son gets older and older and is becoming a man. Hearing you talk negative about men. When you say your dad or you're just like your father for every negative thing, but you never mention him being like his father for anything positive, more or less a failure to mention how he's like you in a positive manner. You don't even tell your children. The failure to tell your children the positive qualities that you have as a person that child picked up on themselves as a boy. The failure to even pick out the positiveness, but to quickly define everything that is negative about their father, you have all those qualities. This is single-handedly for the last 50, 60 years been one of the most troublesome acts that a young Black male has to endure as a child. It's not his fault. And some of it is not even the mother's fault, because a lack of Black male leadership in the home, a lack of Black men taking care of their children, being responsible, produces this environment. This toxic environment that women think they can do it all. And in that act, they minimize male influence and male interaction and think that Black women can do it all and do it all at a high level. But they never focus on how is this going to, you doing it all and stressing yourself out and wearing yourself out, running yourself thin. How does that positively have an effect on a young Black male growing up and making sense of the world, and in essence interacting with other Black women as an adult, thinking that they're going to demonstrate the same toxic behaviors as the mother? And many Black males don't want to deal with that. They don't want someone like their mother. Now, for many, it's an excuse to interracially date. I get it. But that's just the facts. Black mothers cannot replace Black fathers. I know many women think they can. They think they don't need a man. They don't need the father. We don't need him. Yes, you do. He is needed. We have two generations of fatherless black kids and adults, and look at where we are as a community. The observable evidence of a failed community because we don't have enough black male leadership in the home. I commend black women for their strength, their courage, their loyalty, their hard work, their nurturing, whether it's trying to exhibit some level of masculinity coupled with their natural femininity. It's basically producing a harder, sterner black woman and a more feminized, weak, lazy, confused black male. That, in the eyes of many of these black girls that grew up in that environment, think that they're not worth a damn. Because in relationships, women want to physically see and observe and feel that their male counterpart part in that relationship can exercise at a higher level than them, particularly when it comes to earnings, physicality, and decision making. And unfortunately, many black men who grew up in that type of environment of a fatherless household don't have a clue. They learn from I would say trial and error in their late teens, early adulthood. They unfortunately, the church hasn't been doing the job that they should be doing, where they should compensate for that lack of, or if they're lucky, they have a uncle or an older cousin or a grandfather who can fit into that role. Black men need to be in the home. Black men need to be married to black women, providing a healthier environment that increases the chances of better for more responsible, better developed black men to take on the trials and tribulations of the world, because it's not easy. And you're being perceived in a certain way that's always negative and never positive. If we could only change the cycle, then we will change how we perceive ourselves. And when we change how we perceive ourselves and value ourselves, then other people will automatically do the same. Many of these households don't trust black men in those households. The lack of trust for black men being head of household is evident, particularly for a woman who's been doing it all on her own for so many years, and now another man comes in the fold who thinks he's worthy, and you are unable to work collectively with a man in a household situation with a family. The bottom line is, I repeat, black women, black mothers, you cannot. It is impossible. It is an irrational thought to think that you can replace black men, that you can provide and make up for the losses of black men in the household. You can't. You've tried it. You've stressed yourself out. You made yourself sick. You've been exploited by the other populations, working 2 and 3 jobs, getting degrees to only work in fields and industries where they exploit you to make only 68% of what white men making about 80+% of what white women make. That's been the outcome. That has been the outcome of attempting to replace the black man in the home. As a child gets older, particularly around the age of 11, 12 years old, they will recognize you only can do so much, and they need their father. They need their father. There's nothing much you can do at that point when this child becomes bigger, stronger, and more aggressive than you. Around 11, 12 years old, 13, when they get a big growth spurt and so forth, they start developing physically through puberty and so forth. They want to look at someone who went through that, who can provide the understanding of what it is growing up and developing. It's not your fault. It's actually the men who failed to take care of their children's fault. But you can only do so much, just like if it was a female that a man was taking care of and raising. To a certain extent, there's only so many things he can do. So again, this is DETER with Black Mothers Cannot Replace Black Fathers. Have a great day.